Hey guys, Michael Hyatt here. This is the Virtual Mentor Show. If you're watching the replay, awesome to have you on board. Thanks for tuning in. Again, my name is Michael Hyatt. This is the Virtual Mentor Show. My goal is to give you the clarity, the confidence, and the tools you need to win at work and to succeed at life. And as you can see, I'm trying the brand new landscape mode from Periscope. This update was launched this morning. I'm super excited about it. This is what we've been waiting for, right guys? And let me just get some feedback from you. Am I sitting in the right place where you can see me and the comments are on the proper side of the screen? And by the way, if you're not seeing me in landscape mode, or if you're seeing me in landscape mode but the comments are going the wrong direction, you have to update the application. So update it and come back. Somebody said great proportions on the setup. Jen says yes. Eric Fisher says perfect. Eric, you were the first guy, I saw you first thing this morning, do a landscape broadcast. So that was amazing. Hi from New York. Several people were saying perfect, it's in the right space. Great. I think I'm probably going to adjust some things here because I'm not liking this reflection of the ring light in my background, but I don't want to get it too complicated, but I want it to be right. And I'm still having trouble. Notice how I'm looking over here. There's no camera over there. The camera's over here. I know, Eric, you were struggling with that too. It's weird because the camera's over here on the edge of the screen. And by the way, I'm using an iPad to broadcast. So today, I'm going to talk about how to launch an online product. If you've never launched an online product, but you want to, give me a yes in the comments, okay? While you're doing that, my name is Michael Hyatt. I'm the author of the New York Times bestseller platform, Get Noticed in a Noisy World. I blog over at michaelhyatt.com, and I get about 1 million page views a month. My podcast is called This Is Your Life. New episode launched yesterday. I'm usually in the top 10 of the iTunes self-help category. So yes, so many people wanting to launch a product. Hey, Max from Germany. Danny, yes. First scope with you. Awesome. Guys, it would be so helpful to me, and especially for you guys that are first-time Periscopers, if you could swipe left to right on the screen and make sure you're following me, or if you're on an Android, from bottom to the top, make sure you're following me, and then share this with some people out there that are your followers on Twitter, or now with the new Periscope, you can even share on Facebook. It's like Kalisha just invited her followers, and Mike shared on Twitter, and Eric invited his followers, and Art shared on Twitter. This is a new feature, by the way, of the new Periscope, is I get to see and call out. Pam, thank you for sharing with your followers, but everybody that shares, I get to see that. So thank you guys for sharing this. Now, here's another thing for you first-time Periscopers. If you hear something you like, or you want to show your approval, or if something just resonates with you, tap on the screen as many times as you possibly can. That's like giving digital applause, and that's what makes the hearts fly here to the right. And did you know that you can give up to 500 hearts per session? And if you're just crazy, and that takes about 2 minutes to do that, if you're just crazy and want to give more than that, awesome. You can X out, come back in, and give another 500. But that helps make sure that this show gets discovered when it gets listed on the Periscope listing. So, Leah says, looks great, excited to be with you live. Awesome. Eleni, I'm not sure I'm pronouncing that right. Thank you for sharing that on Twitter. Somebody said, turn your camera vertically. No, this is the new landscape thing. This is what we've been waiting for. And by the way, I'm going to say it one more time. If you're not seeing this in landscape mode, or if you're seeing it in landscape, but you're seeing the comments go the wrong direction, it's because you haven't updated to the new Periscope app. You need to do that. So go to the App Store and update to the new Periscope app. You're going to love it. I think this landscape mode is going to make a lot of things possible that up until this point just wasn't possible. So let's just talk about product launches. This is something that I wrote about today on my blog, and you can find that. It's at michaelhyatt.com, or if you want the direct link, this is a short link, you can go to V as in virtual, vmentor.tv/launch. If somebody could put that in the comments, I'd be grateful. vmentor.tv/launch. I'm all about product launches, and let me tell you why. As an entrepreneur, about 3 years ago, I was trading time for dollars. And here's what that meant. I only got paid if I consulted, if I coached, if I went out and spoke, or if I wrote books. And frankly, books are not a great way to make a living, although I did okay with platform. But that was frustrating because I saw that it didn't scale, because I have 168 hours in the week, just like you do. And when I work 40 or 50 hours a week, I don't want to have to work more hours to make more money. I want to leverage my time and make more money by creating online courses and online membership sites like I have at Platform University and so forth. Problem was, I didn't really know how to launch. I didn't know that it was possible to launch. I didn't know that there was kind of a science and a technology and a methodology to it. Everything changed when I discovered Jeff Walker. And if this sounds like an ad for Jeff, it kind of is, because Jeff has made me literally millions of dollars. His launch methodology is very easy to follow. Again, I wrote about it in the blog today because Jeff has just launched 3 brand new videos for free that kind of give you an overview of his system. Now, obviously, he's doing this in the hopes that if you like it, you'll buy his course, okay? And so the reason I'm sharing it is because I'm an affiliate of his and because I believe it can help you. I don't share anything on my site, no affiliate links for anything that A, I don't use, and B, I've got to be passionate about it because I really believe in the product. I turn down lots of requests to market products all the time because either I don't use them and don't have the time to explore them, or I'm just not passionate about them. But Jeff's product launch formula I love. But again, I just want to say to you guys, this free training, you don't want to miss this. If you've ever thought about launching an online course, Jeff is the man. Now, let me tell you what happened once I started using his methodology. I launched my Get Published course. That was a 6-figure launch. Then I went on from that to Platform University, the first launch we ever did with that. That first one, we did several $100,000 in the launch. Paid for the course, like, in a nanosecond, like the first 10 minutes the cart was open. Went on from that to do every launch in the last 2 years I've done. I've done now a couple 7-figure launches, and all of that was out of what I learned from Jeff. So if you guys are passionate, not just about making money, look, I like to make money just like the next guy, right? But it's got to be about more than making money. It's got to be about something, I don't know, more transformational than that for me to be interested. And so to me, the thing I like about online courses, membership sites, online products are the following. Number one, it requires very little investment on the front end. It's not like when I was in the book publishing world. I used to be the chairman and CEO of Thomas Nelson Publishers, 7th largest publisher in the US. And we invested millions of dollars every year in inventory. And then we sold them to bookstores on credit. So then we had millions more dollars tied up in accounts receivable. The thing I like about online courses, takes no inventory. I don't have any accounts receivable because people pay me when they buy the course with their credit card. That's allowed me to create a multi-7-figure business that has no debt, no investors, no inventory, no accounts receivable. It's beautiful. But more than that, it's allowed me to connect with people in a way that I think has been for them transformational. And that's the thing about doing these online businesses. If you have a message that's burning in your heart that you want to get out to the world, that would move the needle for somebody, that would change their life, maybe you need to create an online product. The first thing I ever started with was a PDF that I sold called Writing a Winning Book Proposal. It came out of my expertise as a book publisher, and I've been giving the same advice to people for, I don't know, a couple decades. And I thought, I'm tired of giving the same advice over and over again and coaching people on this. I'm going to write this up and create a PDF product. And initially I gave it away. And then I decided, I'm going to start selling this. And even though it was 30 pages long, get this, 30 pages long, I sell it on my site today for $20, $19.99, I think. And I sell about $70,000 worth of that product every year. And that's been going strong for about 8 years now. That was my first introduction to what online products can do. Again, no inventory, nothing. I had somebody else write the fiction version of it for me, somebody I hired on Elance. I paid him $500. And I said, look, here's I described the concept. I said, I've got a nonfiction book proposal product. I want a fiction book proposal product. And I want you to write this, and I'll pay you $500. They did it literally in a couple of days. I put that up. That's earned me tens of thousands of dollars every year since I first posted it. So I'm a huge believer in online properties. And again, it's not all about the money, but the money's nice. You know what I'm saying? And it's a great, great business model. But here's the thing for you guys. You can do the same thing. You have an expertise. You know stuff. You know stuff either in your head or you know how to do stuff that other people would pay you money to know. Here's the problem, though. You have the curse of knowledge. In other words, you think everybody knows how to do this, right? You know, everybody knows how to do what I do. Nobody would pay me for this, but they will. What is your expertise? What's your passion? What do you feel called to produce? Where could you make a major and significant contribution to somebody else's life? Well, maybe an online course is for you. Now, as part of Jeff's promotion, I'm actually creating a webinar. We worked on it some yesterday, and going to work on it some more this next week. But we're going to be doing a webinar that I'm going to be announcing soon, and we're calling it, and I've got to get this cleared with Jeff, but we're going to call it the Product Creation Formula. That's going to teach you how to create your first online product in less than a week. I've done it, we counted it up yesterday, I've done this at least 5 different times, but how to create a product in less than a week, okay? So watch for that. That's going to be a webinar. I'll announce it here on Periscope so that you can join or sign up for that free webinar. It's going to be a 90-minute free webinar with the Q&A following that, and I'll announce it here and I'll announce it on my blog. So with that, I'd love to get your questions about launching products. It could be anything, just a beginner question, whatever it is, you know, or a more sophisticated question, technology, whatever. I'll be glad to answer that question. Just do this for me. Give me your name in all caps, 2 question marks, and then give me your question. Okay, go. So Upward Action said, package your expertise into a product that can be sold. People are waiting for you. Absolutely, they so are. If you withhold this content that you have to give to the world, who suffers? You, certainly, but all the people you could be helping. Other questions? I have courses, how get it public and sold? Well, there's a lot of ways that you can do this. You can do it by writing blog posts. You can do it by podcasts and periscopes and creating a connection with people who at the time you publish a product are already people who've given you permission to contact with them. One of the most important things you can do if you want to monetize your platform or if you want to create an online business, this is rule number 1. And I didn't do this, by the way, at the beginning, and I wished I could go back and do it. You got to build an email list. So critically important. MC says, I don't have a website. How can I sell a product? You don't really need a website. One of the things you could do, and Jeff talks about this in his course, but you could create a 1-page simple website using something like leadpages.net or ClickFunnels. You could put your product on there, and so this would be a sales page, and then you could buy traffic on Facebook and send it to this website where you convert them and sell them the product. The great thing about Facebook is you can experiment and make sure that the investment is paying off. You could do it $100 a day or $50 a day and make sure that it's worth the return on the investment. That may sound like a lot of money, but if you're making a 10-time return on your investment, I'll do that all day. Somebody said, I'm afraid to speak online. Oh my gosh, I was too. That's one of the great things about Periscope. Push yourself. You'll get more comfortable as you do it. Michelle, what about trademarked phrases? How do you get permission to use them in your ebook? You got to really be careful about that. First of all, make sure they're trademarked. There is something called the fair use doctrine in the United States pertaining mostly to copyright law. But if you're using it to teach or to inform or in a critical review or something like that, and as long as it's not the bulk of the product, like to quote, we used to have kind of a rule of thumb in the publishing industry, if it was 100 words or less, it's okay. But it depends on, if it's a 100-word poem, that's not going to work. But most books it will. Rhonda, tried building a mailing list with a giveaway, not much luck. Your thoughts? I would go back and look at the giveaway. In fact, even before that, here's what I would do. Do a reader survey. You need to find out, you need to become an expert on your customers and find out what are their frustrations, what are their pain points, what are their aspirations, and I like in my surveys to ask open-ended questions where I get it in their language, okay? Based on that, and this is all entrepreneurialism is, if I can solve my customers or my prospects' problem, I'll sell stuff. If I can do that in an email opt-in or an email magnet or an ebook or a cheat sheet or some kind of downloadable thing that I give in exchange for their email list, all the better. I get them conditioned to take action. Robin, what if a lot of it is knowledge? Great. People pay for knowledge all the time. Tanny, ways to promote your course other than webinars. Let me just tell you what I use. These are the platforms I have. I use my blog. I use my email list. So I do it on the blog, and I'm also emailing people even behind the scenes. I use my podcast, and I'm using Periscope. I mean, you're going to see this in the next few months. And by the way, my 30-day Periscope test is done tomorrow, okay? So I told my team I'm going to give it 30 days. I'm going to blog tonight on what I've learned about Periscope over the last 30 days, and I'm going to tell you where I'm going to go from here. Am I going to continue? Am I going to kill it? Am I going to move to another platform? Feel the suspense? I'll tell you tomorrow. Jessica, regarding copyright, what about recipes that have been updated but were inspired by others? Honestly, I don't know. Sorry. Joy, how do you determine pricing for your products? Oh, that's a great question. It's tough sometimes to determine the pricing. I would do some competitive research first. I would ask a few customers that I trust, but you got to be careful with this because people will often tell you that they won't pay the price that they end up paying because it's difficult to tell until you're in a real life situation. I will say this, I'd rather price it lower at the beginning and then get some traction, some momentum, and then raise the price over time. We've done that, for example, at platformuniversity.com, my membership site. We started out at $20 and we went to $25 and now it's $30, and we're about to have another price increase here in the next few months. So I'd rather start and get the reach and get some confidence and then raise the price. Dave says, how big should a list be? Oh, I missed that, Dave. Ask that again. Penny says, yes, you're here to stay. Maybe. Ethan, if you don't have a team to help build your business, how do you decide what to do first? Great question. I think you got to have priorities. You know, one of the things I do, I really believe in goal setting. You guys that have been through my 5 days to your best year ever know this. But I don't not only set annual goals, but I set quarterly goals. And I try to set 5 quarterly goals every quarter that feed into my annual goals. And I don't focus on anything else. I don't get distracted by anything else. I just had a call with my coach yesterday, and she asked me, how are your 5 goals? What's the progress you've been making? And so we review that. So I have some accountability built in. Justin, I'm not the expert in the field, but no one in this is on this field online. Let me just tell you something. I used to get this question all the time when I was in the book publishing world. Somebody wanted to write a marriage book, for example, and they said, what is there left to say? Well, here's what there's left to say. Even if you're saying the same old stuff, but it's filtered through your personality and through your experience, it'll be different. And it'll reach people that the other people were unable to reach because for whatever reason, their personality or their experience didn't resonate with them. So don't let that discourage you. In fact, I would do this. If I research a product and there's no competition, that scares me. I think there must not be any market demand. If I research a product, like I'm creating a new product right now that we're going to launch this next year, and there's a lot of competition, that validates the concept. I'm excited about that. Ethan says exactly. We each have our own unique voice that may reach others. So true. Robin, we all need coaches. If you think you don't, you're in trouble. The world's best golfers, even Tiger Woods, has a golf coach. I have a coach. I wouldn't think of trying to succeed in business without it. Okay, your perspective is everything. There must be competition. Competition validates. Yes, perspective is everything. If you believe that, give me some hearts. Ian, what e-cart software do you recommend for PDF sales? Let me just think here for a second. I don't use this actually, but I love it. And it's the one that was Nathan Barry promotes. So Google him. Somebody else may know it on here. I started with eJunkie, and that was pretty good, but got pretty clunky pretty fast. Today we use Infusionsoft, which I think for most people is more complicated than you probably need. But the one that Nathan recommends is awesome. Okay? Other questions? Johnny Quinn, how much emphasis do you place on shipping? You mean like just getting it out the door? Yeah, Gumroad. Gumroad is the e-cart software. It's a little pricey. They take 5% of your sales, but at the beginning, who cares? You know, I just want to make a great user experience and get it shipped. Which, let me just go back to Johnny's question. Shipping. Yeah, just ship it. The way I think about it, when I'm creating a product, this is the beta version. This is the prototype. I don't try to get it perfect because perfectionism, write this down, perfectionism is the mother of procrastination. It just keeps you stuck. Get it out the door, let your customers interact with it, and then tweak it in version 2.0. Somebody came on the blab that I did yesterday and said this. I can't remember who they were quoting, but this is awesome. Version 1 is better than version none. Okay? So get version 1 out the door. Ethan says he's working on a beta version of a course right now. Awesome. Get it out the door. So yeah, I've had products that I know going out. I mean, the first year that we did 5 days to your best year ever, get a load of this. I mean, this was a product we built in less than a week. So we shot the entire 5-part film series in 1 day, plus 3 launch videos, all the same day, and 3 hours before we thought we were supposed to be done with the studio that we had rented, the owner came in and said we only had an hour left. And I still had 1 video and a launch video that I had to do. We panicked, I got focused, and we got it recorded. That launch was about a $330,000 launch, and we recorded it in 1 day. Now, was it perfect? Heck, no. It had a lot of flaws. I stumbled around a lot. There were a lot of improvements to be made, but we made money, and it was awesome. So then the next year, I did version 2.0. This last year, I re-recorded it again, and it's better still. I'll re-record this probably. My team doesn't like this particularly, but I'm going to probably re-record this every year because I'm learning new stuff. I know I can help people at a different level. Yeah, love your honesty about the process. So helpful. Well, man, if there's anything you want to ask about in terms of honesty, by the way, you see the construction guys behind me. They're building a whole new patio in the backyard, a breezeway, outdoor kitchen, a bunch of crazy stuff. Yes, Tanny, done is better than perfect. Manasi, I hope I didn't butcher your name. How do you come up with the tagline to describe what you do? We have a whole process for this. This isn't a promotion for Platform University, but it's a process where we help you create your core value proposition. You want me to give you the shorthand on this? All you have to do is answer these 4 questions, or fill in the blanks. I help so-and-so, so that's your target market, and then you want to have your proposed solution. So in my case, I say, I help overwhelmed high achievers. And what do I help them do? In my case, my proposed solution is I help them gain the clarity, the confidence, and the tools. And then the third blank is the promised transformation so they can win at work and succeed at life. Now, guess what I have on my blog? Win at work, succeed at life. That's my slogan. So start with your customers, talk about your proposed solution, look at your promised transformation, and then out of that, distill that. That's all for the back office stuff. That's for your team to be aligned around. It's for you to be clear on who you're trying to serve and what you're offering. But then what you want to do is distill that down into a clear slogan that you can put on your blog so that when people arrive there, they know they're in the right place. Okay? Great question. I help, then your promised solution, and then your promised transformation. Tim, are you broadcasting on an iPhone for this broadcast? Nope. I'm broadcasting on an iPad. You know what? You want to know why? Because I can't read the stinking comments on the iPhone. They're too small. So on the iPad, I can see them great. Probably the camera on an iPhone's a little bit better, but is this good enough, guys? I mean, tell me. Literally, if you think I ought to switch to an iPhone, I'll figure it out. But I think this is probably good enough. Michelle said, yep. Optimized Web said, yes. Ron says yes. Carrie says yep. Looks great. Now they're going by so fast I can't read them. How big should your list be before the launch? Okay, great question. How big should the list be before the launch? Well, I've seen some of our students at Platform University have very successful launches with 7,500 people on their list. I know of people, in fact, Jeff Walker will teach you that with about 1,000 people on his launch, on his list, he launched his first product. The most important thing is not the size of the list, but the relationship you have with the people on the list. If you just have a bunch of random people that, maybe that aren't that invested in you and you're not blogging that much and you don't really have this relationship of trust, I don't care how big it is. And if it's not the right people, it doesn't matter how big it is. But it's the quality of the relationship. I'd rather have 1,000 people that are really engaged with me than 100,000 that aren't. Okay? Relationship is greater than the size of the list. Yes, thank you. List engagement. Blogging, powerful. I'll tell you the cool thing about blogging. Okay, this is the dirty little secret. Actually, the really cool little secret of blogging. It helps you create content at the same time you're building your platform. Every single thing I've ever created in terms of content, and this is kind of my secret, guys. This is where my podcasts come from. This is where my Periscopes come from. This is where my courses come from. This is where my published books come from. They start at my blog. My blog is like my lab. That's where I try out new concepts. It helps me get clarity around my own thinking. I get feedback from my audience, and I get some indication of whether it's going to work. If it does, then I go deeper and wider and create an entire product. And at the same time, I build an audience for that product. Okay, what else? Oh my gosh, we're almost out of time. Yes, Michelle, can you gradually blog an entire book? Absolutely, you can do that, Michelle. Now, some old school publishers that don't understand new media will say, no, who would buy it if it's already been blogged? That's stupid. People will buy it because when you do the book, it's going to be sequential, A to Z. Do this first, do this second, do this third. It's going to be convenient. It's all going to be in one place. Almost my entire book platform, at least 80% of it, appeared on my blog, and people could get it for free before I published that book. And that book went on to be a New York Times bestseller, USA Today bestseller, Wall Street Journal bestseller, and it was all there on my blog if people wanted to search for it. But who wants to do that? They'd rather buy the book. My new book, Living Forward, that started out as an ebook that I gave away for free. I blogged most of that content, but that book is going to be published in March. Again, it's called Living Forward. How often should I blog per week, Amy says. And you're welcome, Michelle. It is encouraging to think about that. How often should you blog a week? Here's what's more important than frequency. You can write this down too. Consistency. I don't care if you blog 1 time a week or 2 times a week or 3 times a week. Keep up with it like it was a promise, because that's what builds trust. If you tell your people, tell your audience that you're going to blog once a week, great. Do that. Get consistent. Keep showing up. And once you get consistent and once you've worked it into your lifestyle, then you might want to dial it up a click or two and do maybe 2 posts a week. But don't do frequency at the expense of consistency, because I've been there. Where I got all jazzed up and I thought, I'm going to do 7 blog posts a week. And that worked great for about 2 weeks. And then I fell off the wagon and I didn't blog for a while. And that builds inconsistency and it hurts trust with your audience. Yeah, Lyndon says our podcast show notes turns into our blog. Does that count? Absolutely. Here's another little dirty little secret I don't like to admit because I love to blog. But when I go out speaking, which is rare these days, honestly, it's very rare for people to say, oh, I read your blog. What I hear more often than not is I love your podcast. I listen to your podcast. The podcast is what's connecting with people. Do you recommend scheduling a blog? Absolutely. I schedule every single blog post I do. So Mondays is already scheduled. And the great thing with WordPress is you can tell it exactly what day and what time you want that blog post to appear. One time I was visiting with Seth Godin in his office, and not to be a name dropper, but Seth has had a big influence on me and we're friends. And I was just asking him, I said, buddy, how far in advance do you blog? You know what he told me? He said, well, let me put it this way. If I died today, it would be a year before anybody knew. Why? Because they have that many blog posts scheduled. I don't do it that far in advance. I may do it a couple days in advance, sometimes a couple weeks in advance, but usually I'm kind of going with the flow. Like my blog post tomorrow is going to be the result of this 30-day experiment on Periscope, and it's not written yet. I got to go after this Periscope. In fact, I'm procrastinating right now. I'd rather talk to you than go write it. But I'm going to go in there and write that post that'll appear on my blog tomorrow. Now, Monday's is done, but tomorrow's is not done. Does that surprise you guys saying wow because of Seth? Oh, Leah says, I aim for 3 months. I want to be you when I grow up. Are you still seeking a community manager? Yeah, the job may be offered. I know that we had over 100 people apply for that for Platform University, and we've been interviewing people, and so I know we're close. Do blogs or podcasts do better for building business? First of all, I don't think it's either or. I wouldn't try to do all at the same time, but I would pick one. And if you're like me, I like to work out things in writing. But some of you may be, and particularly you extroverts, you know who you are. I'm not one. You kind of have to say it out loud to know what you think. You know, you have to talk before you know what you think. And sometimes a podcast or Periscope can work there. Tanny, I missed your question. Joy the Lit Diva said, good question. Sorry, I don't know what it was. Tanny says, what platform do you use for your membership site at Platform University? Great. I'm assuming that was a good question. We use a Wishlist Member. Now, for my Get Published course, we use Kajabi, and we're probably going to move to something else for Best Year Ever this next year, but I'm not sure what it is. We want to find one piece of software that we're really excited about that we can use for all of our courses, and we're kind of going through the process of investigating everything that's out there right now. Anything else? All right, we're going to wind it down. I'm going to take one more question. Leah, how did you schedule or plan to get through PLF, which is Product Launch Formula, which is Jeff's course? And before I answer that, you can find out more about the course, and you absolutely must sign up for the free video training that Jeff is offering now, because it's going to go away in a few days. And you can get there at vmentor.tv/launch. That's the blog post I wrote today. It's got links in the post to get to the free training. Don't go to sleep tonight without subscribing to that. You'll be glad you did, and you can thank me later. How did I get through the Product Launch Formula? I was very methodical. It's not cheap. It's like $2,000. Worth, by the way, every single penny. I've made that back so many times. But what I did was, because I was so invested, you know, it was expensive. It was the most expensive course I'd ever bought up to that point. I bought some more expensive ones since, but that was the most expensive one I bought up until that point. I scheduled time to get up an hour earlier until I got through the course. It was brutal. I got up at 4 a.m. till I got all the way through the course. Totally worth the investment, transform my business, really transform my life. Okay, that was the last question. Guys, thank you so much for following me. I really appreciate it. I can't wait to share with you my thoughts about Periscope. If you have something I should consider about Periscope that maybe I've missed and that I should be including in this article, ping me on Twitter. Just, give me an @Michael Hyatt on Twitter. I always review my mentions. I don't follow that many people, but I always review my mentions. I'd love to hear from you guys. So, love you. Don't know how much of your day's left, but whatever it is, make it a great day. I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.